It's 5:30, Monday, August 14th, 2017, and I'm going to call the meeting of the City Council of the City of Paris to order. We'll start off with the invocation by Bob Bush and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm going to ask all assembled to keep your eyes open because I'm not going to pray. I'm going to bless you. I was reading something in an old book that I know today, how wonderful and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters live together in harmony. And I thought about harmony. A lot of times harmony comes out of a lot of disharmony until you finally get it right, whether it's country western or whether it's Beethoven or whatever. I've seen some Beethoven manuscripts. It looked like chicken scratching all over it. And when it finally comes out, it'll just make the hair stand up on the back of your head. And sometimes it seems like a meeting like this, or you leave with the hair standing up on the back of your head. But I want to bless you and bless all here. God bless us everyone, because this assembly is where we find harmony in spite of some things in our country that have saddened us all this weekend. We find harmony here, and sometimes we have to scratch and claw to get it right. But once we get it right, God blesses us. And so I say to one and all here, and you can say to each other, God bless us, everyone.
God bless everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item is the Citizens Forum. Remind persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members or employees, as well as individual personnel appeals are not appropriate for a Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. Anyone wishing to address, please come forward.
Mayor, my name is Larry Shank. I just have a point of order question. I'm here to speak to something on the agenda, which is the COLA adjustment. Is it appropriate for us to speak now, or would you prefer that we speak at that item?
At your convenience.
Which will give me more time.
Probably. I'm planning on moving moving that item up right after the consent agenda, and I think rather than have the 2 minutes, within reason, I'll let anybody speak as long as they want to.
How about 4, and I'll give you back some?
Okay.
All right. Thank
Sounds
you,
good.
sir.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Well, seeing none, I will close the Citizens Forum. Okay. Now we move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything on the consent agenda that they wish to discuss or to remove? And I'll entertain a motion here.
I make a motion, we accept the consent agenda.
All in favor? Aye. And the consent agenda passes. Okay, I'd like to, there's a lot of folks here who want to talk about number 21, this is what, Ms. Portugal put this on the agenda, and if there's no objection, I'll make a motion that we move this up for consideration right now.
I'll second you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all right. Well, how do we start? Want to start with this? Ms. Portugal, you put this on. Would you like to say something first, or do you want to?
Well, in speaking with some of the retired city employees, they indicated that at a minimum they would like for this to be on the agenda and see what could happen. Maybe for Mr. Anderson and Mr. Godwin to look at some alternative funding for the budget, just to see what could come about.
Okay, and I promised Mr. Schenk that we would have a discussion on this, and we deferred the people, so let's go ahead and allow the people to start coming up. Mr. Schenk.
Mayor and members of council, I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate this item being on the agenda. Thank you for your indulgence. My name is Larry Shank, and I live at 3765 Dawn Drive in Paris, Texas. I've asked the city clerk to distribute to you what I call the long form of my presentation. In the interest of time, I will abbreviate it so that you don't have to read everything, but it's there for you to read. I'm here to speak to you again about a subject I believe is important not only to the people directly affected, but also to the entire Paris community, and that is the subject of a COLA adjustment for Paris retirees. I offer an analysis I made using data taken from the TMRS website. I will tell you up front, I am not a statistician, I am not a mathematician, I do not presume to be. But what I've tried to do is to be responsive to a question I believe was raised by Councilmember Knox at our last meeting, which is, and pardon my paraphrase, how long has it been since other cities similarly situated to Paris, and I think the word similarly situated is part of my focus, to Paris, have given their retirees a COLA? I actually wound up with 3 analyses. The first is the one that I characterized as statewide, and I have it marked 19,500 plus population. According to TMRS, Paris has a population of 26,539. There are 122 TMRS member cities statewide with a population of 20,000 or more. I have rounded up from 19.5 to include that in the 20,000. While some include giants like San Antonio, a sizable number are actually in the 19,000 plus category. Of those 122 cities, 113 have given their retirees a COLA adjustment more recently than Paris. I repeat that. Of those 122 cities, 113 have given a COLA since Paris. Of the 9 cities failing to give a COLA since 2009 or 2008, only 3 cities, including Paris, are located outside of the Rio Grande Valley, where, of course, we know their economy is very tough. Regionally, 10,000 plus population. TMRS groups cities geographically in regions. We are in the Tyler-Longview region. Of the 12 cities located in our region with a population of 10,000 or more, that's less than half Paris's population for many cities. Only one other city besides Paris has failed to give a COLA adjustment since 2008. Sulphur Springs, with a population 10,000 less than Paris. Finally, what I call the neighborhood or neighbor analysis, our smaller neighbors, Mount Pleasant, Dangerfield, Pittsburgh, Commerce, Honey Grove, and Clarksville, have given COLAs since Paris has done so. Clarksville, population 3,285, has given a 70% COLA adjustment on a repeat basis since 1992. Honey Grove, population 1,668, has given a 70% COLA adjustment since 1993. Again, I emphasize that I have the work papers here. If you would like to have the clerk, I can give those to her to copy. Unfortunately, I almost burned up my home printer as it was with what I did, so I have but one copy of that. You're welcome to have a copy. But by any standard, though, looking at this analysis, Paris is at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to COLA adjustments for its retirees. This conclusion does not speak well for a community that seeks to establish itself as a retirement community or final retirement destination for retirees. I need to clarify something that was mentioned in passing at the last meeting. While none of you were here when the city stopped giving COLAs, and the manager's only been here since 2012, the manager has given you information indicating it would cost the city $1.4 million to resume its prior 70% repeating COLA. I'm not disputing that that's the number. What that, at least at this point, what that really means, though, and I need to put this in the proper perspective. You can't just look, okay, that's what the cost. What that really means is that this city has balanced its budget for 10 years on the backs of its retirees to the tune of $1.4 million. Finally, we are asking for clarification of the cost of the 3 respective COLA options. Last year, we were given a memo indicating a one-time 70% COLA increase would cost $293,818. A 50% increase in COLA would cost $212,336. And a 30% increase would cost $146,907. 1 year later, we are told the cost for the same respective levels would be $361,578 for 70%, $271,496 for 50%, and $196,428 for a 30% COLA. What we do not understand is how these costs, which have accumulated over a period of 10 years, can escalate 23%, 28%, and a whopping 34% respectively in the space of 1 year. Finally, I want to thank you for placing this matter on the agenda for discussion. I think taking action one way or the other would tell retirees where they stand in the future. Thank you very much for your kind and generous attention.
Thank you,
And
Mr.
we'll
Shank.
be here for questions. if
Were there
necessary.
some other people that wanted to speak since?
Yes, sir. I'm sure there are.
You can
Yes,
let
sir.
them, anyone else wishing to speak on the COLA, come on up and talk.
Hello, my name is Alice Penalto. I live at 810 33rd Street Northeast in District 7. I worked for the City of Paris in the legal department for 24 years and retired in January of 2011 at age 73. First, I would like to thank you for placing an item on the agenda regarding the cost of living adjustment for retirees. I believe, as others did, that the temporary suspension for COLA approved back in 2008 was indeed intended to be temporary. I am here respectfully asking that the City Council give consideration to and approve cost of living adjustments for the City of Paris retirees. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Marilyn Rose. I live at 2710 West Brame Street. I worked for the city for 40 years in the finance department, and all of you know why I'm here. I appreciate so much the city manager getting this item on the agenda, which we have tried to do for several years to no avail. And I did correspond with him by email when the first year that he was here, and he assured me he did not know at that time when he first came here that we did not have the COLA in place, and he assured me that it would be a top priority. I really appreciate you including a raise for the current city employees in this year's budget, but please don't overlook the retirees. It has been 10 years. I think this situation, the reason that it's so costly is it's kind of like the infrastructure in the city. The water mains and sewer lines were not replaced for many, many years, and we had to have a bond issue in order to take care of that. So please don't let this continue to go until it just costs a prohibitive amount of money. And thank you very much for letting us speak.
Thank you. Is anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charles Whitley. I live at 725 Southeast 38th Street in Paris. And I appreciate the opportunity that you have given us to come and express our grievances, if you will. I retired several years ago from the police department after 28 years and something. I enjoyed the relationship I had with management at the time, with council, and with the people that we served. It was my ambition after high school to become a police officer. And of course, living nearby, near Paris, I chose Paris. In checking in about the employment, I found that Paris was rather low paid at the time, but that didn't bother me a great deal because this is what I wanted to do. This is where I wanted to live. So I became a member of the Paris Police Department. At that time, we were working 6 days a week, 48 hours a week, and I was making $235 a month, which in my math comes to something less than $10 a day wages. I could have gone to probably gone to Sherman or the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Greenville, Texarkana, and made more money, but I didn't want to do that because Paris is my home. I love Paris, Texas. Even after retirement, I could have maybe taken my retirement and moved to down near Red River where the cost of living might have been a little bit cheaper, but I chose not to do that. I love Paris. I live in Paris. I'm going to stay here until I pass away, hopefully. And I say that because I have a great love for this city. And I respect you, every member of this council, and whatever you choose to do about COLA is we will abide by that. And I thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Steve Dockery. I live at 935 Bunker Street here in Paris. I am a retiree from the Paris Police Department. I was a policeman for 37 and a half years, and I retired in 1994. I'm here tonight to ask y'all if you would consider giving us a COLA raise. We've not had one in I don't know how many years. Any help you could give us is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
I'm Faye Cavness, and I live at 235 35th Southeast here in Paris. My husband, Sergeant Wayne Cavness, gave 30 years and 7 months to this city police department. So please consider what we are asked.
Good afternoon. Mayor Clifford and members of the City Council, my name is Tommy Haynes. I'm a retiree of the City of Paris. I live at 3095 Abbott in Paris. All the retirees of the City of Paris are concerned that we have not had a cost of living increase for the past 10 years. Our current city manager has been here for 5 years, and no COLA has been given, and it is not in the 2017-2018 budget. I gave Janice a copy of something that I would like to be passed out. Have you already passed it out?
I passed it out to the council. We didn't have one for the three of us.
Everybody's got one?
The council does.
Okay. I have an email from Marilyn Rhodes where she spoke a few minutes ago to John Godwin regarding it was dated August the 1st, 2012, that I wanted to give you a copy of the council. I've cut it down to where it's not the whole thing, but it does give the message as to what I'm trying to accomplish. The city in it, she requests the city to reinstate the COLA provision. In fact, Marilyn had been here nearly every year, I think, since 2008 when we cut it off. She sent this to City Manager Godwin, and that was on August the 1st, and he answered back promptly that day and said that he did not realize that there had been no COLA since 2008, and I'm not sure the council is at this point of wanting to fund it this year, but I will certainly follow up and absolutely make it a high priority next year if it does not get funded in 2012. Well, it didn't get funded in 2012 and has not been since then.
In 1998, the city of Paris was selected as the best small city in Texas. I don't know if many of you knew that, remember that, or whatever, but one reason for this would have been how the city treated its retirees with COLA increases. Our COLA request is less than 0.5% of the total proposed budget. We feel like that's a very small amount that could be possibly looked at, and I respectfully request that you review the proposed budget and include a COLA increase. Thank you, Mayor Clifford, for moving us up from item 21 on the agenda, as we have a number of retirees here tonight. Not all of them are wanting to speak, but I'd like you to see, and the rest of you to see, those present in support of this item. So will the retirees please stand? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Tiny Freeland, live at 804 12th Northeast, and I'm a retiree. I retired in 2006 from the city of Paris, worked for the traffic department for right at 24 years. Enjoyed my job, enjoyed what I did for the city, and we did a lot of good work for the city and did a lot of things for the city, and I was proud of it. I'm still proud of the city, still proud of the council, proud of those that's running, but I hadn't had a raise since I left, so that's why I'm here speaking today, that I think not just me, but I think all the retirees should have a cost of living raise, because the cost of living keeps going up. And it's hard on the older ones. I know I mean, I may not be fighting it now, but when I get older, I may be fighting it later on. So I believe if we could get it, and I believe that they deserve it. I believe that. And I thank y'all for letting me speak today.
Thank you. All right. If everybody's wanted to speak on this has spoke, oh, go ahead.
My name is Janine Lauren. I live at 1760 Northeast 34th Street. My house, I paid $135,000 cash for it. I thought I had solved all of my stuff, but this year, my taxes went up 3%. No, went up $3,000. The appraisal went up $3,000. So I went down and talked to them, because I thought, once you reached my age and all of this, that these things froze, but only certain ones froze. And that is one of the things that's being talked about in the Dallas Morning News, in the COLAs for the increased taxes for the state. Our representative is saying he wants tax reform for the 4% that you can increase property taxes per year. So if I live 10 years, my increase in assessments will go up $40,000. This blew my mind so bad that I am considering putting my house on the market and leaving and going to total minimalist. But I have 3 pensions, so I don't have, and this is true for all government agencies right now, this COLA issue. I have not had an increase in any of my pensions in 10 years, and they don't come, any of them, from the state of Texas. But I'm going to face this 4% tax increase every year, and there's a bill before the legislature to increase it up to 8%. Our representative is going, oh, I'm on reform, I want 5%. None of us retirees are getting 4 and 5% raises to even deal with the property tax. This is unsustainable for everybody. And so I'm just speaking that, you know, this is an issue that has to look on broad. You either have to freeze our taxes once we get to the thing, or you have to give us a COLA. It's one or the other. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, let's move on to the council discussion phase of this. Anybody have anything they want to talk about or speak up or raise your hand or whatever.
I do have a couple of questions, and I'm not real sure. If we give this adjustment, if we give this COLA raise, and I've got different things opened up here. You had mentioned in an email about an ad hoc,
That's what, yes.
okay? And you said this would be a one-time thing if it's an ad hoc?
It's a one-time raise. It's a permanent cost.
It's a permanent cost.
Right.
Okay, I wasn't real sure on that. Okay. And so if we give this year, then it would be a continuing thing until a council would vote to stop it. Is that correct, like it was before?
No, no, it's a one-time thing. For example, to pick on Larry, since he picked on me, Larry would get like, not really, $6 a month or something, because Larry wasn't here a long, long time. His is pretty low. He'd get a $6 raise a month. Well, for the next 40 years, however long Larry lives, he'd get that $4 a month. Yeah, well, I'm being generous here. Larry get that $4 a month. So
Okay.
he wouldn't get more or less, wouldn't get taken away from him. It just wouldn't
Right.
ever go up.
Right.
And
And
that's, so the permanent one, which is the much more expensive one, of course, that one happens automatically. But the ad hoc one it's a one-time, they would all get raises from $1 to, I don't know, $200, whatever it would be, actuarially based on TMRS system. But the cost would be there because he'd get that $4 forever, so the cost for the city would always be there.
And it could increase or decrease depending on the number of retirees, is that
The
correct?
cost would, yes,
Yeah.
yes, the cost
Okay.
would likely increase because of the number of retirees, but that, of course, depends.
And is that why there was, as Tommy said, there was that, or I think it was, I don't remember, maybe you, the discrepancy between last year and this year's
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
was
I-
because do we have more retirees now than we had last year?
Yeah, I assume that's part of it. That's an actuarial number that's done by TMRS. It's gonna be based on the number of people who are getting paid out, the salaries those people are getting paid. It's also gonna depend on, interest rates with their investments. If they had a bad investment year, that can affect the rates. So it's a number they give us. They could have made a mistake. That seemed like a big jump to me too. But those are the numbers they gave us. We get them directly from TMRS each year.
Okay, and I have, I think, one more question right now. This would affect any retiree if we decide to do this. This would affect any retiree, even one that just retired 2 weeks ago?
Correct. I think
I mean,
that maybe it goes back a month or something, but any retiree.
You have to have been retired for at least 13 months.
Okay.
okay. Okay,
Okay.
okay, all right, thank
Yeah.
you. I
And
might think of
just
something else.
for those of you that were here 4 or 5 years ago, we talked about this a little bit. And at that time, and when I talked to the lady about that a while back, we thought initially that we could do it for only those people who retired when it got stopped, if that makes sense. So it would be for the 28 people or something. But TMRS says, no, it's like you're saying now, it's for everybody that's been retired for 13 months. And that's when it got a lot more expensive, a lot more difficult than we thought. Because our thought was, and kind of I understand especially how some of these folks feel, you've been getting it, when you get something every year, you assume it's going to last. And then it stops, and it doesn't ever come back. That make me pretty unhappy about it, I think, too. Or anxious or whatever. I don't want to put emotions on people. So we were trying to just those people that had actually dealt with that. For example, if I retired today, if I retired 13 and a half months ago, I don't feel like I'm in the same boat as these folks, some of them. It's probably not making much sense. Anyway, bottom line is, we couldn't do that. So that's when we were really hoping to do that in 2013. We were not allowed to limit the number of people. It was all or nothing. And that's why we've not ever found the money for it. Not that we don't think it's a good idea. Please don't think that. It just hasn't made it to the top of the list, so to speak, and compared to other things.
Okay, I might think of something else in a minute, but it's all right now.
Anybody else have any questions or more discussion? Yes. Yes, sir.
There's a great deal of truth in what John has said. And what concerns us is, though, that if it's not done now, it will do nothing but progressively get more expensive, and it will never be done. And last year, I was a lot more animated in this discussion than I am this year. And at one point, I said, if the city doesn't do this, you've basically abandoned your retirees. And the then mayor took a great deal of umbrage with me over using that expression and characterizing it that way. But essentially, I think if something's not done and done soon, that will be what is happening. They will be abandoned from that perspective because it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It will finally get so expensive at all levels that the city will say every year, we can't afford it. And so that's the reason why we've been so intense this year. We started last year intensely, but this year you guys just wound up with the bad luck of the draw to be the council that's here now to consider this. But I think that's the concern, is that if it's not done, it will never be done, and the retirees will never have any assistance from that perspective. Thank you, and I appreciate it.
I do have another question, and I'm still not clear on this. If we find money, shuffle money, whatever, and decide to do that for them this year, say 5 years down the road, the council gets in a financial restraint again, which doesn't say we're not that way every year, but a serious one. Could the current council at that time take it away again? Or how was it taken away the first time then?
It was an annual thing, and an annual thing can be stopped. I think you're talking about just a one-time thing.
So if we approve this, even the minimum would be close to $200,000 for every year from now on. And
Right,
it
and
cannot be changed.
And it would likely increase over time.
It would increase over time.
Right.
So it couldn't be changed down the road, is what I gather.
It can't be
from-
taken away.
Okay.
The actual amount, once you get the money, it can't be taken away. The expectation of an increase can be taken away, but not the actual money once it's given. It's a permanent raise, so to speak.
Anyone else have any discussion or questions?
Can we still do an annual?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we still do the annual, like you said a while ago?
Well, this would be an annual raise. This 200,000, 196, it would be an annual raise for those folks. It would
So-
only go up one time, and then they would have it every year forever.
So when it was before,
It was the $2 million deal before.
okay, and so for us to ever
Happened.
be able to stop it, we'd have to go back in there and do that $2 million type thing. Is that right?
No.
Okay, I'm
No,
confused then.
it's two different things.
Yeah.
What happened before was, they had an automatic thing where they got a raise every year.
Right.
And the council, for whatever reason, decided, we're not gonna do that anymore. And so wherever they were, that's where they stopped. And in this
Yeah, I
case,
understand that.
it would be a raise for everybody, but not every year, just a one-time thing. They would have it every year, and we would pay for it every year.
Okay.
But it wouldn't continue to go up. For them, it would likely would for us, but it would not for them.
And so that's the difference in being able to stop it and not stop it?
Correct.
Okay, I get it now.
And it would go up for us because there would be more and more people added that would retire.
Correct.
Or
Correct.
some might be the opposite way.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's,
I mean,
and it's hard to say for sure. Some years it might go down a little bit, but over time, it'll go up just like any other inflationary number.
Well, we're in the middle of the budget, right? Or we're getting ready to start planning for the budget and,
Well, we have a balanced budget, so we're past the middle of it, so.
okay, we have a balanced budget on the backs of our retirees, I understand. I'd like to try to see something found in the budget somewhere. I would like to see something done for them. I'm leaning that way, a one-time raise.
Any other discussion on it?
That's how I feel about, I
No,
know.
I just want people to say what they want to say.
Well, I think there are a lot of people in this room that are future retirees, and I think, we deliver the services to all of our citizens on the backs of the people who are working there, here now, and most certainly all of you who are retired. And maybe this is not the proper time, John. Maybe it should have come sooner, but I know it's a balanced budget, but are we at the point where we could go back and look for some funds to do this?
Well, we can always change the budget up until it's adopted. You're not scheduled to adopt it until September the 18th. If that's a higher priority than some of the other things, then we can take things out. I can't honestly tell you that I've got $196,000 hidden in the budget because Paris just doesn't have that kind of budget. Some cities, frankly, you could do that, but Paris isn't one of them. And so, we'll cut out, and I don't want to say something because people think I'm playing games, and I used to be a budget guy, and I know people used to play games with me. But, there's things that we think we need, and we'll take those out. And then we'll go about our business and do the best we can, so.
Don't we have some budget workshops scheduled?
Well, you have,
Do we have some informal ones that we could sit down and sort of look at things?
We can. You have the budget on your next 4 council meetings. That includes 2 special council meetings on the 5th and the 18th.
Right.
So you've got 4 more opportunities to talk about the budget. Now, the 18th is adoption.
Right.
And the 5th and the 11th are public hearings. So you really want to have it finished before you finish your public hearings or immediately thereafter.
So, is it possible we could sit down in an informal, not a council meeting, and work?
If you want to, yeah, the council can call a special meeting for that purpose. And if you want to go through, line items and programs, I can't recommend that, but certainly you have that right. Remember, you adopt the budget by fund, not by line items or
Right.
department stuff.
Right.
So if there's broad programs you think, you want to cut back on or something, or I could bring you back a list of, I'll go to the department heads tomorrow. We always have a staff meeting after council meeting and say, okay, tell me where you'd cut $196,000, and, and I'll tell them, don't play games with me. We're not going to cut all 5 squad cars, for example, something like that.
Right.
We might cut 1, something like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Again, just to clarify, I think it's a great idea. I'd like to do it, but compared to the other things we included in the budget, it didn't make my list. And if your list is different from mine, that's why you're here, and we'll change it. And we won't complain about it, so I hope to retire someday too.
Well, I appreciate the effort you put into the budget. I know that's a tedious job, and the department heads as well. But y'all are gonna be retirees one day. And I know I've waffled on this and gone back and forth thinking about it, and I've really, really considered this.
It's a tough issue, I understand.
I wouldn't advocate a large COLA raise, but I would like to see something. Smaller, I know.
I express my opinion. Obviously, I'm in sympathy with the people here, and if we had all the money in the world, that would be fine. I dislike the way it's phrased as, it's not like this is not something that was promised when people retired necessarily. It's something that they may have given them, but the obligations have been done have been paid. So I don't know. I would like to do it. I'm just not sure that we're going to have that kind of money to do it. But it's up to the council to make a recommendation.
Can we look again?
Well, yeah, you've got an action item. I think it's posted action item. If you vote to tell me, absolutely, I will look and I'll bring you something back at the September 5th meeting, I'm sorry, the October 28th meeting.
October.
I'm sorry, August 28th.
I'm like, it's getting further and further out.
Yeah, at the next meeting, 2 weeks, I'll bring you something back if that's what the majority of you want me to do.
I make a motion that we ask the city manager to look into finding the funds for a COLA raise, 30% of COLA.
I would second that.
It got them,
Okay.
excuse me, sir.
With regard to the promise,
to the employees. Many of the employees here, as a part of the recruitment process, at the time that they were hired, the retirement benefits was a large item because the city's salary schedules did not compete with industry and other things going on in the area. So the people came to work thinking that they had a good retirement system that was going to be maintained. That was part of what got many people to come to work for the city. So there was a promise.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? And all those opposed?
I didn't see.
I didn't see Sue or Mr. Jenkins. How did y'all vote?
I'd like to look for it again. What she just said.
Okay, so if it passes, we're going to ask the city manager to look for some money,
To look
correct?
for- Yes,
Gotcha,
and
okay.
come back on the 28th. I'm sorry, that was your motion. My apologies.
All right.
Yes, thank you.
Next item, which is actually the first item on the regular agenda, item number 11. We're supposed to conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition of the city of Paris for a change in zoning from an agricultural district to a single-family dwelling district number 2 for the Hills subdivision within the city limits to the northwest side of FM 195. And explain it to us, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This zoning request is led by staff, essentially. This was sort of a housekeeping issue. It was realized that the Hills subdivision is still zoned agriculture instead of a single-family residential. There are a few issues with that because there are uses that are allowed in ag that would not potentially be allowed in a single family, so we'd like to revisit that. I think it's just something that was overlooked in the early 2000s when the subdivision was developed.
Thank you. Any discussion on this? Probably not. Something, I'll make a motion that we. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I open the public hearing for public discussion on this. No one rising. I'll close the public hearing. And now I'll entertain a motion for passage of this.
I make a motion, we approve the rezoning of the Hills subdivision.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on an ordinance considering the petition of Lawrence Thompson for a change in zoning from single-family dwelling district number 2 to a single-family dwelling district number 2 with a specific use permit. This one for a recreational facility private on Sperry's First Edition, Block 2, Lot North, PT 1, being located 2815 West Campbell Street. I was at the meeting with Planning and Zoning. Apparently, they tabled this, so I think I make a motion we table this.
And if I can, ask you to table it to a date specific, which would be September the 11th.
Okay, I'll table it to September 11th. I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Okay, and on the discussion on this, that this was a basketball court. We'll talk about it later, but the person didn't show up, and so then a couple of people showed up to speak against it. So we wanted to hear the other side of it before anybody votes on it. So, all in favor of this motion? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, none opposed. Item number 13, conduct a public hearing, discuss and act on a site plan for the Liberty National Bank, Lot 4B, Block 286, City of Paris, located at 140 North Collegiate.
This bank is undergoing a significant expansion of its building, and because the site plan is quite old, we need a site plan revision. This is almost like an administrative change as well. They're not doing anything terribly different or new other than they're growing, and that's a great thing. So we need to just approve that change in the site plan.
And we need to have a public hearing on this, so I will open the public hearing regarding the site plan for Liberty National Bank. Anyone wishing to speak for or against? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I make a motion that we approve the site plan for the Liberty National Bank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It passes. Item number 14, discuss proposed amendments to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 22, as related to recreational vehicles and all other special vehicles, and provide direction to staff. Is Alan here?
Alan's not here. Alan's out ill, and that's why he wasn't here for items 11 through 14. Of course, you were at the meeting, but this is a deal where from time to time we get concerns or complaints about RVs especially, but other kinds of trailers are just too tall or too long or too whatever to be in somebody's yard. Even if it's behind a fence, if you can see half of it sticking up behind the fence, it gets in the way. And so we just started a discussion. It was not an action item for planning and zoning. It's not for you, but to see if that's something we want to pursue or not pursue.
Yeah, and this was, I was at the planning and zoning when this was discussed, and there were some concerns raised. One, the height requirement was way too restrictive, and virtually any RV in town would have fallen under this ordinance. And what they were trying to do was the really large, oversized RVs that are essentially mobile homes, at least look into things that might be able to be done. They're simply looking and talking about it right now. If you have any ideas or inputs on this, you feel free to speak up.
If I remember correctly, because I also was sort of semi-involved in that, the issue was the parking of the RVs, that they were in the driveways, but they weren't set back behind the houses, so that when other people were trying to either drive down the street or back out of their driveways, they couldn't see down the road for children or people walking or even animals or anything, other traffic. So by virtue of parking in front of the front house, basically, and just in the driveway in front of the house, people couldn't see. And that was a big concern.
And right now, as I understand the ordinance, these special vehicles can be parked anywhere except in front of the house. Basically, they can be parked on side driveways and things like that. And again, we're not trying to restrict anyone's right to have an RV, a reasonably sized RV that's, or if any. But anyway, these are the things they're thinking about doing on this ordinance, and they were asking for your input if you had any suggestions. My main suggestion was the height requirement was, I agreed with planning and zoning, was ridiculously low. They were going to rule out all RVs, and that's just not what we're trying to do at all. So they were having a good discussion about that at planning and zoning.
If you have any thoughts later, let me know or Alan know. If you have
I've
any
had
opinions on it.
people in my district that have complained about
Yeah, and
RVs and they're talking about the real big
They're talking about
ones.
the really tall
Yeah,
ones.
right.
Okay, well, any other discussion on that? Well, you can tell Mr. Frissy that we kind of agreed with planning and zoning, and but when they get more specifics, to let us know.
Very good.
Item number 15, discuss and act on an ordinance disannexing a 6.941 acre tract of land out of the John Williams Survey, abstract number 1001 in Paris, Lamar County, Texas, known as 6055 Clarksville Street, Paris, Texas. And is this our third time for this?
Yes, you've had 2 public hearings on this. This is the Bowlers petition for disannexation out near Airport Road, and you can act on an ordinance if you so choose.
Okay, any discussion on this? Well, we've had it go by twice. I'll make a motion that we adopt the ordinance disannexing this property.
I'll second you.
All in favor? Aye. That passes. Item number 16, discuss and authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Williams Equipment Services to construct the Paradise Estate Sewer and Southeast Outfall Main Project and related change orders in an amount not to exceed $2.4 million. Yes.
On June 27th, we had our bid opening for this project, which will provide sewer to the Paradise Estate subdivision, and then also extend a new main to the Southeast Lift Station. It will decommission 3 of our existing lift stations in Morningside North, Morningside South, and Eastgate. It's a good project. We had 4 bids, and all engineer's estimate was around $2.5 million. The low bid was Williams Equipment Services for just over $2.2, so we're recommending award based on the engineer's recommendation.
Okay. Any discussion about this item? I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Williams Equipment Services for this construction.
Ms. Lancaster seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. Item number 17, receive presentation from architect, provide feedback and authorize completion of design and bid documents for bidding of the Northwest EMS station. Yes, sir.
Good evening. Just wanted to do a little brief refresher for council as well as the new members as far as what this involves. And North EMS personnel and ambulances are stationed at the Paris Regional Medical Center on the North Campus at the emergency room. The small room they have is attached to the ER waiting room. It's about 400 square feet. It's a little noisy. Since 2012, Paris Regional has been asking for their space back so they can utilize that space for their operations. In 2015, we had identified some land and it was purchased. And then last October 20th, y'all authorized any architect to start the design of this building. And he's here to talk about it now.
As Paul comes up, just real quickly, what we're hoping you can do, obviously if you feel comfortable, we're trying to get the project moving along, and to the extent that you're comfortable, we want you to approve the basic layout so that we can proceed with construction documents and get this project bid out and under construction. So keep that in mind as you're visiting with Paul.
Thank you all
Hey,
very
Paul.
much. Hey.
Welcome.
Just to kind of go over what we've been working on the last several weeks. We have been trying to resolve several design issues in the design of this facility. First of all, it is very, very restrictive and tight budget, and we have tried within the limits of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which we do have to comply with, and other code requirements. We've tried to come up with the absolute smallest floor plan that will do the job adequately, and we think we have come up with a workable floor plan that will do that. We did have what I would call one kind of a setback, is that we did have a geotechnical report on the site that y'all have purchased, and it is very, very bad soil conditions. I would say that it is up with the Higgins Elementary School and the Geneva Bailey School at North Lamar as far as expansive clay soils. The geotechnical firm that we worked with cut their teeth on Los Colinas, so they're pretty responsible folks. They have recommended to us 2 foundation options, which in fact I'm going to meet my structural engineer Wednesday, and we're going to try to come up with what our recommendation is. But you either can build a foundation on suspended carton forms to get the actual floor slab up off the clay soil. That recommendation is one of 2 that the company recommended to us. To do that, you would have to have a void, in their opinion, of 14 inches under the slab. Unlike your house, you're in essence on your home, if you did a regular household slab, you would be in essence paving the ground. But a suspended slab has to do work to hold up the people that are standing on it and the stuff that's on it. So you get into more reinforcing steel and a little bit thicker concrete, so it is more expensive to build a slab that way. The second option they gave us was to dig out and rework the moisture content of the dirt that's there and cap it with a select fill cap, and that would be to the depth of 11 feet deep to get the soil upheave values within acceptable limits. We're going to try to talk about that and resolve that issue. I always lean toward a carton slab, but the problem is nowadays when you have such expansive clay soils, you actually have to put void forms under the sewer pipes that are under your slab, because they can heave up even though you've protected your slab. You get into that issue. So we may or may not do the carton slab option, but we're going to come up with that and try to get that part of it resolved in the next few days. We also had extensive coordination with the emergency communication system vendor, and we've incorporated those things into the plan. We have shown on there an electrical entrance design that at some future time you can put an automatic transfer switch and you can put a emergency generator at some point in time when budget allows. We are having to deal with the code that the state of Texas adopted and that y'all adopted not too many sessions ago, the 2015 Energy Conservation Code and International Building Code. The new code will require us to put slab edge insulation around the perimeter of the floor slab, which is necessitating new details. We have not been building buildings that way in the past, and that's something that everybody now is going to have to deal with at some point. Has wonderful energy savings, but it's a whole different way of working around a slab edge. So we've incorporated those things into the plans. I am recommending, and I think city staff agrees, a project delivery method of competitive bidding. I know of 4 firms in town that are bondable, that would be excellent candidates to bid on this project. What I would recommend is that I write them a letter of invitation to bid, an advertisement for bid, and also advertise it on the websites that Steve has recommended to see if there are any out-of-town firms that would want to bid on this. As far as the bid structure, the budget may or may not allow, but I've taken a little extra time in the plans to do a base bid of a pre-engineered metal building shell with the standard vertical metal siding option as your base bid. But then have an alternate number 1 that if budget allows, we could put masonry, split face masonry, and make a little bit nicer look to the building. The soil problem may or may not allow us to do that, but it will be built into the plans, and that will give y'all a choice at the time of opening the bids. As far as the timetable for the project, basically, when we issue the plans, I would like to recommend that we take at least 3 weeks to give your bidders time to bid and offer any kind of suggestions. If we need to do any kind of addendum prior to the bids being opened, we can do that. Then my guess is sometime between 6 and 8 months to build the facility. The building is rather small, but there's quite a bit of site work and things that have to be done on the site. So I think 6 to 8 months would be a good educated guess as to how long it'll take. Can I answer any questions?
Questions?
I have a question for Ken. Are you satisfied with all of this, and this is going to do what we need to have done for this station? I mean,
We tried to make it as small as possible, smallest footprint, to do what we needed to do and meet all the ADA stuff.
okay, so you're very satisfied with all of this design?
I'm
I mean, as much as you
satisfied
can be.
enough.
Yes.
And just real quickly, since I don't it doesn't seem to be labeled. This is double bays for ambulances. This is a day room, this is a bedroom, this is a bedroom, and these are the two bathrooms, and this is a kitchen area, and then that's it.
the locker room, kitchen's at the front.
Yeah.
So it's much nicer and better than what you have now.
Oh, yeah, they don't, they
That's
have
what I'm
2 beds and a bathroom.
That's what I meant.
In the lobby of the hospital.
Of the
so.
hospital, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
That was my question.
okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And Mr. Deany, thank you for your work.
Thank you very much.
I got one question. This foundation that you was talking about, is that any kind of guarantee how long that would last, or would it?
You talking about a carton slab?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it'll last the whole period, as long as the building lasts, probably outlast the shell of the building. The only issue you have with them is we tend to forget. Let's say that you decide to expand it, or you don't like the way the bathroom's laid out. You go in, most of the time you'll go in your house and you'll take a concrete saw and bust out the slab and move the potty over 2 or 3 feet. With a carton slab, you cannot cut the steel. It's very carefully designed. If you cut it like you would your house, it'll weaken the slab. So people, what the issue is if a plumbing line were to go bad, that's the only disadvantage. It's a little more costly to carefully cut it out and go in and fix the plumbing line and then put it back, as opposed to a standard slab on select fill. That's really the only worry. Other than that, carton slabs are very, very good.
Was the particular piece of land chosen because of the location, or because it was inexpensive, or?
Both. It was relatively inexpensive, but mostly because of the location and availability. We were trying to get farther to the west from where we are now, and also very close to the loop, and so there's quick access to the loop. That ambulance serves not just, remember, the northwest part of Paris, but the northwest part of the county, because we have a contract to serve the entire county. So it's mostly location. We were looking in that very specific area.
And is that soil indicative of that whole region over there? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Is that the same kind of foundation that was used for the Civic Center?
Yes, the Civic Center was done on 6-inch cartons, and it was one called two-way slab, which is basically a thickened plate kind of slab, whereas ours will probably be a one-way. It'll be just like laying a pencil over a beam. It can float, and there's a void in there.
I knew there was some interesting foundation work done because of the land out there as well.
Yes.
I have just one question. You said that there would be the possibility of putting stone on the facade, or we talk about making Paris more attractive, and then putting up a metal building, to me, is shooting ourselves in the foot. And I know you are constrained by our budget, but that's just, that's sad.
Yes. Well, this at least gives us a chance to do that.
Okay.
Mr. Gladfelter wants to say something. I'll allow him to speak. But I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I believe so.
Go look at the Coliseum floor, though. It tells the story. It's bad.
Okay, anyone else have any more discussion on this? I have one, there's a lot of options on the table here. Sounds like, can we still approve this when we're kind of where we are with this?
Yeah, and again, it kind of depends on what you feel comfortable with. You know, with a complicated building, we built a new city hall or civic center, you'd probably want to have some different meetings on this and provide input. It's basically a box.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to approve it, or have an opportunity to approve it, or give your feedback before we go out for bids. If you're not ready for that yet, we'll bring it back later, but like I said, there's not a lot to it. It's just a box.
I don't have any problem myself.
So far,
with
not a very
approving it.
pretty box, not Paul's fault. We told him he can't make it pretty, and he didn't. But we're going to have the brick as an alternate, and we hope, we'll be able to get that in.
Can I ask this question real quick? I'm sorry. if we go ahead and just do it with the metal siding right now, is it built, would it be built where later on, if we found some extra money laying around, that we could go back and maybe do like a half of brick or rock or something to make it pretty on the front?
Well, it affects, the way we put the drawings together is we tried to keep the inside perimeter the same. And so in my alternate bid number 1, I drew a second floor plan that expanded the perimeter of the building but kept the inside walls the same. You might could do that, but at the current time, it's not structured that way.
Okay.
But it could be if that's what y'all's directive is.
Well, I guess we need to decide whether we want to make a motion to, I'll make a motion, we authorize the completion of the design and the bid documents for bidding as was recommended.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, Paul.
you.
Item number 18, receive presentation and authorize the commencement of fundraising activities for the playgrounds at Oak and Wade Parks.
And I'll make a pretty brief presentation, but certainly as many questions as you need. Public Works Director here, Park Superintendent is here for any questions you have. Kind of like we did with the streets, with the bond, of course, a lot less money. We're going to try to look at this in 2 phases. The first phase, which we hope to do relatively soon, but we don't want to go too soon. We don't want to go off half-cocked and spend up our money too quickly. And that is we want to replace most of the playground at Oak Park and most of the playground at Wade Park. Those are 2 very popular used parks for that purpose. Both of them are old. A lot of the equipment is out of date and in some cases potentially unsafe. But not the Rocket. As I told the Rotary Club, when I was talking to the Rotary Club about some of this Thursday, we're going to save the Rocket no matter what, unless, y'all make me do something to the Rocket, and even then I'll probably just tell you no.
And I used to play
yeah,
in
I mean,
that
it's too
Rocket.
much. It's not an icon for me.
It's been there a while.
But as soon as I moved to town, I realized what an icon it is for kids that grew up here, and that's just the sort of thing you don't want to ever get rid of. But most of the most of the other equipment needs to be replaced very quickly. So our notion quickly is to then spend about $140,000, $120,000 of our bond money, something like that, towards replacing those 2 playgrounds. We actually have, this is Oak Park. It doesn't look like this, but this is kind of a rough way it would lay out on there. And these are the different pieces of equipment. And then try to fundraise. We have a group that's been meeting internally for several months. And we were always, our mission was to try to figure out how to improve our parks if we had no money at all. And so we've already talked about fundraising and so forth and so on. So this just gives us an opportunity. Our goal is to double that money, double the amount of money the city puts in. Whether that's realistic or not, don't know. Sure hope it is. But that's our goal. We've also got $15,000 in the proposed budget, assuming that stays in. I'm pretty sure it will. For ADA, we have that in there for on an annual basis. And so we want to make sure that we add some facilities there that are readily available and usable for folks with certain kinds of physical handicaps. Those 2 parks, that's the things that we would put in Oak Park, and these are the things we would put in Wade Park. Wade Park's about $150,000 total. These numbers won't add up to that because you get a discount. It's kind of like we talked about earlier today. It's like Rooms R Us. It's a little cheaper if you buy the whole room or you buy the whole park. The Oak Park is about $105,000. We're talking about $255,000. We're hoping to split this as partners between the city and the people who live and work here and play here and are proud of their parks. The other part we don't really want to talk about tonight, or you can if you want to, but that'll become later. We'll come back to you with ideas on how to spend the rest of that money. Our goal is to get a Texas Parks and Wildlife Department grant or grants, perhaps TxDOT grants, perhaps CDBG grants. Our number 1 likelihood is TPWD, but that's for the other money. We won't come back to that till probably well after Christmas, but that's what we plan to spend a majority of the money. And that money we also hope to double. Our goal as a staff is to take that $500,000, turn it into $1 million before we spend it. So whether we can do that or not, that's what we're trying to do because we really want to hit hard on those parks. And citizens entrust us with $500,000. We want to be able to try to double that before we go forward. But tonight, I'm just asking you if you're okay with us proceeding with putting together a nice, attractive packet. We'll do a lot of this through social media, which is still Greekish to me, but I'm learning. And also to talk to some of our large corporations and those kinds of folks and ask them for donations, whether it's $100 for a tree or $98,000 for a playground. If one of y'all want to, we can take that tonight even. And then again, any questions you have of me or the rest of the staff who know more about it than I do. Or if you're okay with this concept and also if you're okay with us to proceed.
One question or comment is, no, actually two, is landscaping, and you just mentioned a tree. But some of our nurseries I know have donated, down around the plaza, I believe some of that was donated. Perhaps that can happen, because you can put that out there and it's not attractive, it doesn't draw people in unless there is some landscaping. And the second thing, I noticed some of the things have some kind of sun shield, but I think that's real important if you don't have shade built in.
Right, makes your equipment last longer, and it makes it a lot better for the kids on a really hot,
Absolutely.
sunny day.
Thank you.
One question, will these have the injury resistant, the padding and stuff all
Right,
around?
what we'll do is we in-house, we'll remove the old equipment and all of the lining down to the bare dirt. And this price includes this company to come in and put all new materials down and all new equipment down. So we do 100% of the demolition, and they do 100% of the construction.
Is this material a particulate material, or is it more of a solid?
It's a particulate.
So, people can grab it and throw it, is what
They
I'm saying?
can, and it gets in your shoes and all those fun things. Yeah, you don't want to make it too modern.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, I know we built a park once upon a time, another place I worked that had lots of money, and we built it with artificial grass. It was beautiful, but super expensive and just not worth it, to do that.
Is there any, it's nice with the playground equipment, but is there any place for parties or picnics or places?
Yeah, both of those parks, of course, have pavilions.
Already have them already, yeah, pavilions,
And the
thank you.
pavilion at Oak Park is one of those we've talked about trying to replace and or expand. And yeah, those kinds of things, we've talked about a lot of different things. Here, we're talking about just the playgrounds and some
Okay.
landscaping probably. But yes, those are the things that we'll have to have more feedback, more citizens' input as well as council input when we start talking about that
Oh, they're
next
pretty
spring.
popular.
Yeah, we rent those out in a lot of different places, and the one, like I said, the one at Oak Park, this one at Oak Park's in kind of bad shape, right? Or it just needs to be bigger? He's not answering. Okay, but anyway, yes, we will have those. We have those now. We just need to do some work on some of those.
I just didn't
Thanks,
see
Bill,
them
for
in
being
here. I
here and
didn't know
saying
if they were
absolutely
being
nothing.
phased out or something.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Do we want to, as a council, say, go ahead and proceed with the fundraising? Do we need to motion this, or
If y'all are good with it, I'll take your word for it.
anybody have a problem with it? Okay. Proceed on.
I'm good
Very
with
good.
it.
Great.
Go
Thank you.
forward, young man.
Item number 19, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Chapter 3, alcoholic beverages of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paris, Texas, revising regulations relating to the sale and public consumption of alcoholic beverages on city-owned property, making other findings and provisions related to the subject, providing a repealer clause, a severability clause, a savings clause, a penalty clause, and providing an effective date. Yes, ma'am.
I'll take
Please.
this one.
Please do.
You may recall back last year, you voted to allow alcoholic beverages at Lake Crook and the fairgrounds with a permit and a property ABC permit. And this kind of came about of the various aspects of the city and various people wanting to include the farmer's market and perhaps the plaza. And I got into the research in that our current ordinance prohibits public consumption. And what we had done is make that exception to that. Well, the alcoholic beverage code now prohibits a municipality regulating public consumption. That's all on the state level, except under very limited circumstances. So what I prepared for you today takes out that general offense, that criminal offense, since that's preempted by state law. We still want to prohibit that on our city-owned parks and property, excluding sidewalks and streets, because that's what we can't do, and add the plaza and the market square to that list of places that we will allow that with a permit and a property ABC permit.
All right, anybody have any questions? Well, we need to make a motion that we adopt this ordinance, amending Chapter 3 of the alcoholic beverages of the Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And we've already done 21, so number 20, receive presentations and act on the fiscal year 2017-18 budgets for the Love Civic Center and the Visitors and Convention Council.
Hello, Mayor, Council. My name is Ken Higdon. I am President and CEO of the Lamar County Chamber of Commerce, and we have a contract over the Paris Visitors and Convention Council and the Love Civic Center. I have sent to you, I think in your packet, the budget for the Love Civic Center, the Paris Visitors and Convention Council. If we could start there, because that's kind of the mothership. That's where a lot of the hotel occupancy tax comes in before it disperses out to the Love Civic Center. So if we could, just a real brief, I know y'all have had a long day and you've got more to go. Just briefly, major changes in the budget. You'll see revenues basically stay the same, but we've had a good year in the tourism world. The hotel motel tax, or the hot tax, Gene was nice enough to send that out today, and the quarter ended up at $658,525 for the 4 quarters that are in this budget. So we beat last year. We beat the budget significantly this year. So we raised that budget. We knew that was kind of coming down to $630,000 for the the revenue for hotel motel tax. We always are a little bit under the budget, because you never know when taxes are not going to be paid or they're delayed. In fact, part of the revenue from the 15-16 year was delinquent taxes being paid and caught up. So just FYI, we're always a little bit more conservative when we budget for revenues. Major things on the expense side, we have a payroll expense of $115,000. We have actually hired a new employee. Drew is here. Drew, if you'd stand up. Drew Ruhart. Drew is going to help Becky in a lot of ways, but mainly his job is to go out and do sales and help with marketing. And he has come on board in June. We thought we were going to get him on sooner than that, but it just took a while to get that process done. We're excited about having him on board. The employees there are, of course, Becky Simple, and we have Judy Daniel, and then in that salary as well as Drew. You'll see advertising and market raised up to $63,000, which is 10%, which is the new law that we use the hotel, that portion of the hot tax to cover marketing and advertising. We have done a really good job there with the Texas tourism bureaus. For instance, we're in Texas Highways. You all have seen those. We're in the Texas Travel Guide that goes off all over the world, and we are getting lots of good responses there. They send us information, people requesting information about our community, and we're able to respond to those. So we have seen good things happening there. We're doing a lot of things not only on the state level, but also on the South State area, the regional area, and a few things nationwide. We've done some things with USA Today and some other national magazines that are travel related and visitor related. So just for your information. So we've got that over there. You'll see other changes. There aren't a lot. The end-up budget on this, we end up with $701,000 worth of revenue, $701,500 worth of revenue. Estimated expenses, $69,500. We expect to have a $2,000 ordinary income, and then we have a little bit of interest that we're paid some income with, so we end up with a $21,550. Pretty tight budget, but we try to make sure, as my mentor John tells me, you always want to have at least a balanced budget. So we try to have a little bit of room in that budget. Would you like me to take questions on this budget, or would you like to do the Love Civic Center and then ask questions?
Y'all want to ask questions for this one first?
I would like to hear it all.
Okay.
Okay.
And then ask questions.
The Love Civic Center, a little more simple. Love Civic Center, we've, hotel motel tax, or the hot tax, we have budgeted $270,000. This year, we would have had $282,225 come in revenue. But again, I'm a little cautious there. We have rents of $90,000, up from a little bit up from last year as budget, but still very conservative. We hope to do better with that. We have a lot of events scheduled, so we're on schedule to beat that number. But again, I'd rather be a little bit cautious. Payroll expenses of $112,000. You see an increase there. And again, I'm just hitting the highlights. We have hired John McFadden. I think he's back there in that booth. And John is a part-time employee for us. One of the challenges that we have 2 employees that we're putting in sometimes 50, 60, sometimes even 70 hours a weekend because of the number of events and the rollover. It's not just setting it up at 8 o'clock and going away. You know, we have to tear those things down and get them ready for the next event, which sometimes leaves us there till 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's a little bit of challenge hour-wise, and John helped us relieve some of that. So you do see an increase there. The other thing you might look at is the Eiffel Tower. We are going to need a paint job on the Eiffel Tower, so we increased that budget. Believe it or not, it's the paint's peeled, and we've got to maintain and work on that. So that's another item that you need to know about. We are putting in about $100,000 this year. It's $99,000 worth of maintenance and upkeep. The Love Civic Center is now 23 years old, about to be 24 years old. As any home, it takes a lot of expense to maintain, and this is no different. But we are trying to address those piecemeal. We have done something that we want you to know about, and I think some of the new council members have seen this. We did a facility study. The facility study showed to bring the Civic Center up to code, well, not to code, up to new standards is about a $3 million investment. We are, like I said, spending about $100,000 a year of maintenance and upkeep, and we're trying to, it's like the old story, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we have a long-range planning committee that helped us set up some goals. Some of this was maintenance related. We're doing those things now, trying to catch them up. Other things, we're doing bids for storage in the kitchen areas. We're doing a lot of cleaning, especially in the bathrooms. We're having those sterilized, really steam cleaned on a quarterly basis, which is helping odors that have accumulated over the 23 years, and trying to make this facility as best we can. We have painting scheduled, a lot of things that just, it's that continuing upkeep. We do have air conditionings and those type of things on a yearly basis where we're replacing 20-year-old air conditioners as they come. We try to do 2 a year, that type of thing. So we're trying to budget the money, but also as we go along improve. Some of the wish list things include sound, lights, and air conditioning, all controlled with a control system that literally a lot of civic centers now are running off a tablet, and makes it so much easier. But presetting setups and depending if you want the stage here or the stage over here, you can make those changes with really just pushing a button. We have increased the security cameras. We have done that somewhat in partnership with the veterans and the memorial. We allow them to use our office to hold their video equipment, but it also gave us some outside views that we did not have. So we continue to work on those kinds of things as well. So it's been a good year. We've grown the staff. We've grown the number of events. We've grown significantly the hotel motel tax, or as we like to call it, it's actually called the hot tax, the hotel occupancy tax, putting heads in beds, and we're very proud of the efforts that have been going on, not only by our staff, but your staff as well. You know, we couldn't do a lot of the events that we do without the help of the city. Also, we could not do them without the hundreds of volunteers that come out and support the efforts of our tourism world. And tourism is, depending on who you talk to, sometimes it's the second employer, top employer, economic group. Sometimes it's the fourth, but it is a very viable part of this economy, and we're very proud to represent it. Questions?
Just a comment, Ken. Your people are the face of Paris. Most of our tourists see you all. I was at a TML meeting for new council persons last month. Somebody noticed that I was from Paris because I had my Eiffel Tower on, and she came up and she said, and I can't remember the group, but she said, we were there, we had a fantastic time, and she said, there was a woman with the biggest smile, and she said, I can't think of her name, and I said, Becky Simple, and she said, yes. She said,
Becky,
and our group will be back.
Yeah, Becky does a great job, and that is a story we hear often, that once they come here, they may not come back the next year, but they'll put us in the rotation to come back, because they really do enjoy not only our competitive hotel rates, but the hospitality they receive when they come to Paris, not only at the Love Civic Center, but at the fairgrounds or at other venues that we have in the community.
Thank you.
Paul.
I have a few comments.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations on the increase in hotel motel tax collections. That's
Thank you.
very admirable when your collections come in higher than your proposed budget. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if the council's aware that the chamber contracts with the city to execute the hotel motel occupancy tax, and it's a 10-year tax, or it's a 10-year contract. That was just signed last year.
Yes,
So there's 9 more years left on it. This is a very ambitious budget.
It is.
And there's a lot of things in it, and I think it might behoove the council if they saw a breakout of discussion of what these different line items entailed. Personally, I'm a little, I would like to see about the chamber management fee.
Yes, ma'am.
There's a little over 11% that the chamber takes, and I've included the rent for the chamber building, their portion of the rent, and I understand all of that. But I think that there's 11% that the chamber takes right off the top for management. And you know, I'm a fan of yours, and you're a wonderful cheerleader for our community, and we need a cheerleader. But I think that it would behoove all of us to see a breakout of each of these line items. For instance, what kind of marketing, is involved? Is that going around? Does that include brochures? Does that include direct mailing? All of that kind of thing.
Yes,
and I would ask that, and looking over here under the Civic Center, under security, is that officers or is that the cameras?
That's
you know what I'm saying?
Officers. That's actually paid to the police officers.
So, if we could have a breakout of each of the line items, if that wouldn't be too much of a problem, and I don't know if I'm overstepping my bounds, requesting that for us to look at, and we could look at that and maybe approve it at the next city council meeting?
I don't have a problem with that at all. Anybody have any feelings on that? We could.
I'd like to see it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be glad to provide you a line-by-line item.
Okay.
I know we're glad you asked. The more you want to know, the better for us, because, we're not concerned. We're an open book, and we want you to be aware of all those things. And we're running a pretty tight ship when it comes to expenses, so we'd be glad to have you go over those.
I do have one question on just a line item that I saw a pretty good increase in, the general liability insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you just sort of explain real quick, Ken?
On the Love Civic Center?
Love Civic Center.
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Is it just because premiums have gone up just like everything else?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
That's what I
And-
figured,
and
but I just want to make
it's-
sure.
You have a very active building that has lots of visitors.
Yes.
And folks that come in off the streets, and that's one of the reasons we have all the cameras now, to protect us against those liabilities, but still, that's just the cost. We bid those out among the local insurance companies.
Okay.
But I appreciate Councilmember Knox asking those questions. There's a lot of things that as you mentioned, there's a lot of things that we're doing inside budgets that the detailed report is there. For instance, I think you asked about the auto expense. It's actually done as mileage. The CPA set it up that way, but it actually is a auto allowance that one of our Civic Center employees and part of Becky's car allowances are coming out of that. But that detail's there and ready for you to look at.
That'd be great.
Ken, I had a question or two, too. The archery event, which y'all spent apparently around about $19,000 for it, but you've budgeted $30,000 for expenses on that. Is that just being conservative, or?
Well, we were blessed this last year not to have to pay for the buckles. Paris actually gives out buckles. They're very nice to the winners of the various categories. One of the archers passed away, and his family wanted that to be a memorial to him, and they actually purchased all the buckles this last time. So that's why the difference in your expense and the new number.
And I see the expenses for the archery event, but I don't see any profits from it. Obviously, we get economic benefit from it, but quite a bit, obviously. But,
about $1.2 million.
But my question, is there any income from that, or does that go to the archers? I was just wondering how that works.
There is limited income that comes through vendors, but very limited income.
Are there registration fees, though, for the archers?
Those all go to the...
Those all go to the archers, okay.
They go
that
to the
explains
archers,
it.
and that's part of the prize money, mainly.
Okay, so.
Yes, sir.
Also, the marketing costs, I was noticing were only $14,000 in 2014-15, and they jumped to $42,000 in 15-16. They're budgeted this year at $50,000, and then they're going to $63,000. I guess that's the new employee, all of that.
Well, not only that, but that's the law.
The law has to do it.
The law, we were not probably, I just been here a couple of years now, so I am getting us back to where we are paying attention to all those things. Can I put it that way? Is that a good way to say it? But yeah, that is part of the way. We are very connected to the Hotel Association and their lawyers, and we've had them up doing workshops for our board and for our hoteliers as well. But that's one of the requirements.
And I see it costs $30,000 to run the tour. That sounds like a lot of money too, but that's the expenses for the tour is $30,000. Is that correct?
Yes, we brought in revenue of about $45,000.
Well, I know you brought in a lot, but it still seems like a lot to put on that event.
It is. It is an expensive venture. We are one of the few rides that has actually grown the last 2 years. There's been 8 that have gone away completely. So we're very fortunate. We are investing more money in it with the shirts that we give out, with the rest stops that we do. We outnumber just about any ride out there as far as number of rest stops. We stock those heavily with fruits and juices and waters and Gatorade or Powerades and all kinds of stuff. So we probably spend a little more than we
it's a wonderful, iconic event.
But it's an iconic event for our community.
It really is.
But also notice up at the top under income, you'll see that
Brings
there's
in money.
45,000.
Oh,
that
and
they
not to
bring.
mention the economic benefit, which is enormous.
Correct, so they
Yeah.
recover that in
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
fees.
Anybody else have any questions about the budget? And so we want to table this till we get a little bit more information like Ms. Knox wants. I'm fine with, you want to make a motion?
Could we ask, would it be too soon to put it on the agenda for the 28th meeting? Is that not too soon?
Not for us.
Okay, how about for you?
It's fine for us.
Oh, great.
We work at your beck and call. I mean.
Understand, but, I also know that you're busy bringing people in, and this is still the summer, and.
After July, we are actually prepping for other bigger projects, and this is the best time in the world for us because we've got a little bit of time before the next big. We have started selling our Shop Local program and our banquet, but as far as visitors, we've got Bug Tussle coming in. We've got several coming in. Bug Tussle. Cleon is a bunch of antique cars that drive around. And we almost lost them last year, but we were able to retain them. But yeah, that'd be fine for us.
Great, thank you so much.
And then how do you want me to send you the details, the accounting details? Would that be sufficient, or do I need to meet with each one of you and go over them?
Oh, I don't think you need to meet with us, but if you could get it to the city, and then it could be put in our box.
Packets. Could be put in our packets.
Not a
Or
problem.
or you could send an email to all of us, you want to get to us sooner than that. So, that would work too.
Thank you
Not a
so
problem.
much.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, do we need to
Yeah.
table this, or
You can.
just okay with us pass over?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And item 22, we're to discuss the 2017-2018 fiscal year budget for the city of Paris.
I have nothing new to present, just any questions or concerns that you have, you need to talk about tonight or later. Just as a reminder, I kind of mentioned this in passing earlier. You do have additional meetings coming up. September 5th and the 11th will be the public hearings. September 5th, as a reminder, is a Tuesday, so that's a special council meeting. September 11th is just your regular first meeting of September. So you'll be here anyway, hopefully, for that public hearing. And then the budget and the tax rate is scheduled to be adopted on September 18th. So that's also a special meeting. So you'll have a special meeting on Tuesday the 5th and a special meeting on Monday the 18th. Other than that, I don't have anything new to present other than what we've talked about the last couple of times, but any questions or concerns or anything you need me to look at between now and the next meeting?
Nothing from, okay.
Okay.
All right. All right, it's time to convene into executive session pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the governmental body has received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body, and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations, or to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect described by subdivision 1 as follows: Project Sunbird and Project 3.141. Okay, we're now going into executive session at 7:05. It is 7:28, and we are out of executive session. We had a discussion regarding a potential business and deliberated a little bit about that. Item number 24, 25, consider and approve future events for city council and/or city staff. Anybody have any suggestions for future events?
I've got something. I've never had anything at this point of the meeting. I am losing my prosecutor at the end of this month, so if I'm living right, sometime soon I will be putting on an agenda to bring you approval of another prosecutor. So if anybody out here has any ideas or any suggestions, let me know. I'm reaching out to folks and trying to get somebody lined up.
All right, item 26. Anybody want to move that one?
Move.
All in favor, we're adjourned.